Well, hey there. Welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. If you are brand new to my channel, yay! I'm so glad you found me. I've been waiting for you. And if you're a subscriber returning, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Anytime you like, subscribe, comment down below, all of that spreads magical YouTube fairy dust on my channel. And that helps my channel to grow so that people can find me and find my reviews. My goal is to help people by giving them the scoop on the filmmaking quality and content so that you can make the best decision for yourself and your family as to whether or not you want to spend time or money or both watching a particular film. So the particular film I'm reviewing today is called Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. It's the Mission Impossible number 7 in the franchise. And I got to tell you, this franchise just keeps getting better and better. So this action-packed thriller hits theaters on July 12th, 2023. The movie is rated PG-13 and is 2 hours and 43 minutes, almost a 3-hour movie. But I'm going to tell you, this movie flies by. When it was pretty obvious we were at the last scene, my husband looked over at me and said, "Oh no, this is the end," because it seemed like we were just getting started. It's that good, but I'm getting ahead of myself. My movie review mom grade is an A or maybe even an A plus, if the movie review gods allow me to give a plus. It's that good, but I'm getting ahead of myself again. I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell, then I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, funny lines, interesting lines, and recommendations for other films that are somewhat similar that I think you'll also really like. All right, you ready to dive in? In a nutshell, in this addition to the Mission Impossible franchise, Ethan Hunt and his hilarious and hardworking team have to find two halves of a mysterious key that threatens the entire world. What's worse is that they don't really know what the key opens, only that it's dangerous and could destroy the world and society as we know it. So we're going to have to see part 2 to get the full story. But this film was directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who also wrote it with Bruce Geller and Eric Jendrenson. Now, I sat in a theater with a bunch of other film critics, and specifically, I sat next to a documentary filmmaker and his girlfriend, she went to film school with him and is a screenwriter. And we talked about how it would be so hard to write a movie like this. Well, at least for me, to come up with the dialogue and the plot and the storyline and the characters and all of that. Can you believe that it has been 20 years ago since the original Mission Impossible film was released in 1996? That's amazing. Time sure flies when you're having fun. And Tom Cruise also flies in this movie. This exciting movie is the perfect illustration of a summer blockbuster. After the first scene and before the rolling credits begin at the beginning of the movie, my husband looked at me enthusiastically and said, "I love it already." So let me give you some tips for parents. There is some profanity. We see some dead bodies floating in water under ice, which is pretty creepy. Lots of fighting with guns, knives, and hand-to-hand combat. We do see people die. We see silhouetted naked bodies in the dark during a party, like at a nightclub. And I was leaning forward like, are they naked or are those like just kind of skin-colored bodysuits? I don't know. I was watching it in the theater, so I couldn't screen pause it to see what was happening in order to tell you exactly what's happening. But enough that I was like, ah. So let me give you some of the themes that are illustrated really well in the movie. The greater good, artificial intelligence, power and control, truth, and friendship. So there were a lot of things I loved about this movie. First of all, Tom Cruise. He guarantees movie magic. He knows how to make them. He knows how to star in them. And he is absolutely incredible in this movie. So I'm wondering, when is this guy going to start aging? He does his own stunts, and those stunts are mind boggling. Rumor has it that he was super vigilant during COVID and often berating people who weren't following the strict COVID-19 regulations or requirements, so many feet apart and all that kind of stuff, masking up. So when 12 people on the set tested positive for COVID, Tom Cruise paid over $640,000 for a cruise ship for the cast and the crew to stay on during the quarantine period. That's pretty amazing. The film's release date changed 4 times due to COVID delays and to allow the Top Gun Maverick movie to come out first. Because of all of the delays, the budget skyrocketed to over $290 million. My voice is cracking. I'm so excited. The most expensive Mission Impossible movie ever made, and the most expensive film that Tom Cruise has ever been in. The rest of the fantastic cast includes Haley Atwell, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, Vanessa Kirby, Isa Morales, Tom Clemente, Henry Cerny, Shea Wiggum, Carrie Yules, and so many more. They were all truly terrific. Now, Haley Atwell was amazing and a terrific addition to the cast. She and Tom had immediate chemistry and worked really well together. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see her again. With Mission Impossible, the opening sequence is going to be action-packed and entertaining, and it was. Now, I don't know why, but everyone loves watching Tom Cruise run. There's something about it, and he does a lot of it in this movie. I also love when the camera zooms in and you can see his jaw muscles working, when he's clenching his teeth. He's just mesmerizing, really. There's a lot of humor in the movie, which is always welcome. So if you love ciphers, riddles, and mysteries, you'll get a kick out of the adventures in this movie. This new addition to the Mission Impossible franchise includes some of the standard favorites like car chase scenes, switching faces with that rubber mask thing, crazy action sequences and set pieces, amusing banter. We see all of that in this movie. There are interesting and creative camera angles, some we haven't really seen since the very first Mission Impossible, which is interesting. Now, the topic of artificial intelligence is extremely timely. Instead of just a nuclear warhead that's going to kill millions, AI is both exciting and terrifying and frightening in terms of what it could mean to the world today and in the future. Now, I'm a university professor, and already we're seeing some scary things that AI can do and how it's affecting higher education, as well as amazing things that can benefit people in business and almost anybody, really. So it's kind of this two-sided coin, two-edged sword. Anyway, it's got the goods and the bads, the pros and the cons. Now, I mentioned that the set pieces are amazing, and I thought that the set pieces were amazing. And for an action movie, it has everything required, but there's also a lot of emotional heft. Now, I thought that the Mission Impossible Fallout was the best Mission Impossible in the entire franchise yet. This one comes into a very close second place. I still think the other one is a little bit better for various reasons, but this one ups the ante in terms of action. And I don't want to give you any spoilers, but again, the pacing was great. It might have started off a little slow in the beginning, but then after that, you're just like racing with amazing, interesting things happening, every 5 minutes or less. Now, with all of that praise, there were just 2 things that I thought could have been done better. First of all, there is a lot of exposition, scenes where characters have to explain everything so you understand what the heck is happening. There's a lot of that going on. Now, there is some resolution in the end. However, this is part 1. So not everything is tied up in a pretty bow. There are threads that are hanging, and we don't know what's going to happen next, and we have to wait. No. Now, I've also heard different release dates for the second movie, some being sooner, some being later, and I can't confirm any of them, but it's going to be torture waiting for any of them. And then the last item is that there are a few little details that just don't make sense. So just don't worry, don't think about it, just enjoy the ride. So I always like to share funny lines and interesting lines. I write them down while I'm watching the movie in the dark in the theater, just so I can share them with you so you can get a taste for, the dialogue and script writing and all of that kind of stuff. So the first one is a funny line spoken by Benji Dunn. He's played by Simon Pegg. He's great. He says the Bob's your uncle line in this movie, like he did the last one, that made everybody in the audience laugh. And in this one, crazy things are happening. And he says, in all seriousness, why do we always end up in these situations? And it's just funny because, that's what they do. And now there's this new character, Grace, and she cannot be trusted. So I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with her character arc. But she says a line to Tom Cruise. She says, well, you can't blame a girl for trying to make a dishonest living. She admits that she's a thief and not to be trusted. Another funny line is when Grace says, all of this crazy stuff is happening. They're trying to explain and get her up to speed quickly. And she says, I'm going to need a few more details. And then Benji says, they tend to get in the way. And I thought that that's true too. The less you know, the better. Just go with it. Just do what Tom Cruise tells you to do, or Ethan, right? And then there were some interesting lines. One is when this Russian submarine captain says, we are at this moment the state of the art of war. That's a pretty terrible accent. But he's right, because this new artificial intelligence has been developed and we don't even know what it can do yet. It's pretty amazing. And then Eugene Kittredge comes back from a former episode. We call them episodes, former film in the franchise. And he's played by Henry Czerny. I can never pronounce his name correctly. Sorry, Henry. But anyway, he says, our lives are the sum of your choices, which is absolutely true. And then this is another interesting line that Tom Cruise's character says something sort of similar. This one is said by the White Widow, played beautifully by Vanessa Kirby. And we get to see some fun things done with her character. But anyway, the White Widow says, the world is changing. Truth is vanishing. Several characters have this conversation about AI and how, with deep fake and all of the technology, you're not going to be able to trust what is truth until you are face to face with someone. Otherwise, all kinds of conversations can be faked or sent illegally, dishonestly, through email and, that kind of stuff. And that's absolutely what's happening right now. It's pretty frightening. All right, and interesting and intriguing and exciting. Anyway, let me give you some movie recommendations for other movies that you definitely should see if you like this type of suspenseful action thriller. The first one, of course, is Mission Impossible Fallout. Now, you can see this one without having seen number 6 in the series. It'll still make sense. You'll still enjoy it, but there's more to it if you go back at the very least to number 6, which is Mission Impossible Fallout. And like I said, that one is such a great movie. Another one is Casino Royale. It has incredible action and stunt sequences, and it is a very strong action suspense filled movie that I think you'll enjoy. And these are, older movies, so I don't want to give you any spoilers, but you probably have seen them. If not, you should definitely see them. And then another one I want to mention is Jack Reacher, simply because Tom Cruise plays the character of Jack Reacher. Now, they've got a couple of movies out, and they were so successful, they spin them into a TV series, which I've also watched. And it is actually a really good TV series as well. Different characters, not Tom Cruise in the TV series, but Jack Reacher is Tom Cruise, or Tom Cruise is Jack Reacher in the movie franchise. Anyway, I hope that if you watch these movies that you'll enjoy them. I am pretty sure you will. They're amazing. Thank you again so much for supporting me, for visiting me on Instagram and Facebook. Have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.